exploits and breaches, locks and hacks. Rachel and Will got your back. Cyber threats and password fails, still break it down with real details. Step into a convo, pull up a chair. Ideas are brewing, wisdom in the air. From vendors to zero trust, to keeping it real and keeping it just. One sips coffee, the other abstains, but both drop knowledge straight to your brain. Talking tech with a human touch, add some laughs, so we've got that much. Grab a cup and circle up our tea talk that won't corrupt. Firewalls up, stay alert, let's keep the hackers eating dirt.
I also really love our theme song.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So for other people that are rejoining and have heard me say it a couple of times now, that theme song was AI generated.
No.
Josh help me. Josh help me. Isn't it nice? I love it. I'm actually less embarrassed because of the I don't feel personally involved in it. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's what AI said. I have no personal claim. That's good. It's good. I love it. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Luke, Damon. Hey, Damon. John Martin. Hi, it's good to see you. John Davis. Rob. What's up, Rob? So if you guys can't tell, just a little housekeeping. No, it's not a new one, actually, John. That's the same one. I'm just, it's going to go every time for 1 minute. There's more to that song, by the way. But that's enough. I think a minute of that is enough.
John wants it for his driving music.
That was Will singing. It is, in fact. I took several vocal clips of Will, and no, I didn't. It's whatever generic something created. Little housekeeping here. If you are tuning in from YouTube, LinkedIn, the LinkedIn Live, or Twitch, your comments will appear scrolling in the collective comment section over there. Oh, I didn't arrange this correctly. Look how bad I am. There we go. Over there. And don't embarrass your family or friends, and remember the internet is forever. Okay? Just want to make sure everybody knows. So, hi. If this is your first time joining us, my name is Rachel Arnold, also known as the Human Guy. Thank you, Will. With me, as always, is my beautiful co-host, Will McCullen, the program manager at the IT Center for Excellence at Pima Community College in Tucson, Arizona. And our guest today is Kara Federow. Did I say it right?
Woo-hoo.
Yes, you did.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice. Kara does all kinds of really neat things when it comes to managing vulnerabilities at GoDaddy. So, without further ado, there you go. Little context for you. Get excited. Malware remediation. I always wanted to say, I'm like, she's the vulnerability queen, but malware, vulnerabilities, it's fine.
What's the difference, right?
There is though. Forever and ever. What is
Forever, ever.
Forever, ever. Forever, ever.
Forever, ever.
Yes. So anyhow, what's going on new with you, Kara? I started a new job this week. My brain is mush.
I bet. Starting a new job will do that. Yay!
It will. How have you been? Anything fun, exciting?
Me?
No, Kara. We're not talking to you.
Yeah, I thought you said Will.
I thought you said Will too.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so it wasn't in my mind.
I don't know. Look, let's get the playback. I might have said Will again. Brain mush.
So go for it, Kara.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing terribly exciting or new. It's a new month, so just land of supervisor world where you get the old month wrapped up, and then you get to be like, all right, what's next?
Here we go again.
Yeah, for next month. But
so what's a day in your life involve?
A day in my life involve basically just, oh my goodness.
It's a lot, and it's not normal every day. You can tell when people pause that hard. There's no structure, really.
Yeah, that's I have to structure myself, which as someone with ADHD, that's always a an interesting time. But a normal week really would involve doing things like checking in with my analysts, making sure they're doing all right, seeing if they need any help with anything. Is there, something new that they're seeing in our ticket queue for, customers that have written in, be like, hey, I'm hacked. Help me out here. Help me.
Right.
And checking in with them, making sure that everything is actually functioning properly, checking in to make, and if it's not, why is it not functioning properly? Sending in a Jira ticket to be able to do that, sending in all these sorts of things to be like, hey, this needs to be fixed, please to be fixing. And then if they don't respond, poke them with sticks. And if they still don't respond, continue to poke them with sticks until
I call that politely persistent, when you're like, beep, beep, hello, ping, ping.
So then you go from the dull sticks to the sharp sticks, right?
No,
actually how it works.
It's not polite anymore.
Well, if they're not getting it done, then he's being rude.
Yeah, then you move it to the aggressively persistent category. That's aggression.
AKA sharp sticks. Yes. See?
There you go.
I'm there with you.
You're like, you better answer me or bad things happen.
No, but I do try to understand that everybody does have a lot on their plate, but sometimes it's like this needs to be fixed, please. And thank you. And then, checking things out, quality assurance, coordinating with other managers and all that kind of stuff.
So
Oh my
I used to say on my average day, if I didn't have a panic attack by noon, I would put on a blindfold and dance in traffic. Rob, that's extreme. I feel like. Please don't.
If it was like noon 01 at that point, or was it like, it had to be by noon? I'm just asking.
That's terrible.
That does sound awful though.
Right? That's not okay. So how, is this always what you wanted to do? Is this like whenever you set out on your I'm going to be a working, functioning adult journey, where you like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be a malware remediation type person and manage a team of other malware remediators.
No, shockingly.
Okay.
I actually, I wanted to get into translation and interpretation. I do fluently speak Spanish. And I got certificates to translate and interpret. Oh my God, it was many, many years ago, but I believe it should be medical and financial documents. So,
wow.
And I do.
Bueno.
Like a lot of millennials, I do none of that. So
excellent.
Yes.
So the bit of Spanish that I know comes from working in the restaurant industry. I am going to guarantee that your level of Spanish is way classier than the words and phrases that I know.
Given what I know about food service, likely yes.
I got let's call it a very colorful education.
Oh, I can only imagine. Yes. Versus studying it in school and graduating with the degree in it. Yes.
Yeah. I still am really bad at conjugating verbs, but I can cuss you out real good.
These are important skills. Somebody needs to have them.
You know what I have found is it actually is very useful, but whenever you're trying to figure out what's being said to you was really the best one, That's the best part of that. Is understanding what type of feelings may be coming at me. So that has been helpful every once in a while. That's very cool. So what happened? Did you was it one of those things where you couldn't find something like a job role for that? Because I can't imagine not finding a job role for that. Is why I'm hesitating on how to answer how to ask this question.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I started getting into it, and then actually what I really started getting into was interpretation, and was very interested in that. And then I found I didn't like it, actually. I was gonna set myself up with my own business. I was going to take contracts and all that kind of stuff. And I should clarify, the interpretation and translation part I enjoyed. It was the business aspect that I absolutely did not like to deal with. And I was not a huge fan of working with agencies. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do at that point. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do with my life now? And then wound up getting a job at GoDaddy. Just tech support, and which I'd done for like a summer or two before, and in college, and was like, you know what? This sounds great. This is fun. This is interesting.
I bet it helped out that you were bilingual with the tech support. Yeah. Nice.
Yep. Yeah. Got me a little extra foot in the door. They're like, oh, you speak Spanish too? And I was like, I sure do. And they were like, that's awesome.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
So lesson learned here. If you have time, be bilingual. Pick another one. It worked for Kara. That's awesome.
So yes. How did you make the jump from tech support into the malware area?
I got extremely lucky, actually. When I was doing various roles in that, I wound up working with the person who used to manage my department. And I basically said to him, wonderful, wonderful man. I basically was like, hey, I would love to work in that department. He was like, great. I would love to have you work with me. So go ahead and apply. And I said, okay. And I frankly did not have any business getting the position, but I said, are you sure about this? And he said, look, I know that you're going to work hard. And I know that even though you don't actually have the technical level and coding knowledge level that you actually need, I know that you're going to learn it. And I know that you're going to do well in the position. And I said, okay. And so got the job. And I worked really, really hard to learn what I needed to learn and figure out how to do all this and look at code and understand what it's doing and looking. And the more important thing I found when you're working with malware is not necessarily looking at what the code itself is doing, because that can be very tricky, right? But what you need to do is look at the context of where the code is, because sometimes you're going to have something that's a file uploader in a website, which is an invalid thing to have. Like WordPress has an upload capability because you have to have images on the website, right? You have to, and sometimes you just need to go through your admin dashboard and upload images, upload files, upload different things. So it has to have a capability to do that. But if that file uploader is in, say, like, not the admin area and looks like it's in a theme file where the theme is definitely not one that you use to upload, that's a little suspicious. That looks like that may not belong there. So always a fascinating thing. Yeah.
That makes sense. It's not something I've ever thought about, but it makes sense now that you say that. Like it's not just that it's a piece of malware that you've identified, but it also matters very much so where it's located in the context of where it is. Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, some things. Oh, sorry. Some things are very obviously malware, right? Like it's like, hey, I'm gonna, it's doing a GET request to an IP that is not in this country, or the country where you are. So that's probably malware. Like that's pretty obvious. But there's a lot of it that's, encoded, which is a valid practice in coding anyway, but sometimes it's encoded. Sometimes it's doing things that it probably shouldn't be doing, but you're not really quite sure. So then that's when you have to look at the broader picture of it.
Gotcha. Does that change the level? Like if you have the same, sorry, Will, if you have the same exact type of malware in one area versus the other, as you described a moment ago, say it's in some place that's not so bad, but then it could be located in some place that'd be really bad. Does that change like a risk score indicator for you and your team on or the priority level for remediation? Right? Like, is there a way, is that part of your process? Is that you look at where it is, or do you just go, no, here it is. It needs to be gotten rid of no matter where it is.
Yeah. It needs to be gotten rid of wherever it is, because
I just wondered if it's, I don't know. I've never worked
totally fair.
as a malware remediation specialist. So I was just wondering.
Totally fair. Okay. If it's malware and if it's there, get it out. We don't want it.
Look how
It doesn't
smart
matter.
Kara is. Whoever that hiring manager person was, good job on them for discerning your capability
Thank you.
or the
Gosh.
just you know what I mean? Or just, discerning that you had the right attitude, personality fit. You were going to be able to learn it. You know what I mean? Because not right? Like
Right.
I can't learn coding. I've tried, you guys. It's terrible. Nobody ever hired me for anything that's coding related. Okay. Unless I'm allowed to like bring a crappy AI generator with me. Like, it's
Well,
not going to
that's
be. It's not going to be
that's
good.
the part I'd like to unpack just a little bit because, of course, right, students all over the place are trying to get into different areas in the industry and trying to, it's really difficult in some companies because if you have very large companies, you tend to be pigeonholed, right? You're the printer guy. Well, I'd like to learn about networking. That's great, but you're the printer guy, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so you obviously leveraged soft skills, I'm sure, and those relationships to be able to help that person know that you are valuable and then showed your enthusiasm, I'm sure. Then how did you make that jump into that area of coding for how much did you have to train yourself? How much did they help you? How did you go about that journey, if you could?
Yeah, absolutely. So the manager of the department, and to clarify, like the manager of the department and I had worked together for years. So that was part of it. But basically what I asked, I was like, what do I need to study for this? Like, what is going to be a good idea to know? And he gave me a whole list of resources and things I needed to learn. And so basically what I did was I just went and learned to read code. Can I code? He asked me to like regurgitate some code. I could maybe, but I learned to read it.
You want to know what my experience with code was? Does anybody remember MySpace and HTML setting up like your own stuff? I would copy and paste HTML for other things, right? Like everybody did. But then I started playing with it a little bit whenever I wanted to adjust something or and then I broke it and then I would go and figure out how to fix it and like stuff like that. Like that's about as far as Rachel's coding journey went. Because then Facebook.
Yes, then Facebook.
I'm wildly impressed whenever somebody understands and their brain is wired that way. And I find there's a lot of neurodiversity in that line of work. And I also am a neurodiverse person, but I can't do the coding stuff. I don't know. It's our pattern recognition, I think, superpower.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
But for me, it's
100%.
applied it applies in a different way. It doesn't
That's awesome.
fit into that. It fits into process recognition, like pattern recognition and processes and in people and conversations. And I don't know, my brain categorizes things differently than that. But so I'm always like, you're so cool.
Who's talking? Oh my God.
Like, how you do that?
I mean, for me, I attribute it to I do have a good facility with languages. So I do fluently speak Spanish. I learned some French at some point. I even learned a little bit of Japanese at some point. And though I don't really remember much about, correct, not all neurodiverse are the same. This is true.
Yeah. I mean, we know that too. I just like to highlight it every once in a while.
Excellent. Like I don't remember too many Japanese words, but I remember how the language functions. So then when it got to coding, it actually wasn't too much different. It's just like, oh, well, this is just a language. That's all it is. And so once I put it into that sort of perspective, I was like, oh, okay. I got this. And it's weird because you got to find the variable and you got to be like, okay, well, where's this and that and this and that and the other. But you can still at least look at something and be like, okay, that's a file uploader. Got it. Or that's a credit card stealer. Okay, cool. Got it. It's just a matter of figuring that out. That's what it was for me though. But if you can like do that to people, that's really cool too. I love that.
I do. Yeah, I do it with people. I think that's why I'm a human
Amazing.
API kind of person. Is I'll pick up on things like that. It's kind of like how you're looking at code. I don't want to offend anybody that I've ever spoken to, though, that they think, oh, Rachel just sees me as a big block of code. But I kind of do. That's how guests get invited to the show. That's how I determine my level of safety in public spaces. Right? Is that my
Important
brain
things.
automatically can detect the malware humans in a space and discern my level of danger and being in that space and how much distance I should keep between myself and them. And it's, I don't know where it came from. It just I just noticed that it was a thing that I do automatically. Like I very quickly, within probably 30 minutes of first meeting Will over a virtual digital space, went, I'm keeping you forever. You're now my human, come with me. Right? Or like,
Cool.
or like for instance, you, Kara, you also had some of those things that my brain identified as you want to be around this human. This is a safe place. And they're very interesting and they'll teach you things and you're going to learn stuff and you like that. And I'm like, you. And so then I keep that person with me. As I'm going through the new job, everyone, there's nobody, not one person on the team of folks that I get to work with that gives me danger signals.
That's fabulous.
I'm so
I
excited.
love that.
You guys, it's so great. It's so nice in here. It's just lovely. And they're also helpful and like not in that way where you're like, oh, you were forced to help me. No, like they want to. Like actually, I'm like, whatever.
That speaks to the leadership because you have to be very careful to protect that environment.
Yeah.
And you also have to be very protectful and mindful of the whole group to say, no, I need to protect those folks and keep the right focus.
Oh, everybody's just darling. They're just darling. Oh, I love it.
Yay.
I know.
Yeah,
And
so with the malware, then, I mean, you have the pattern recognition, but the other superpower that you guys have that I wish I had is the awareness. Now, that's the stressful part of it, but it's like situational awareness, right? Always being alert and seeing multiple things taking at the same time, where I would bet in trying, especially in some place like GoDaddy, right? Because you're hosting a whole bunch of web environments, looking for those interrelationships and having to keep those in the back of your mind, right? Because don't you get stuff kind of going from one site to another within GoDaddy?
Oh, yeah. There's cross-site scripting. Yeah. It's no fun. We actually often have to warn our customers like, hey, by the way, you've got a bunch of sites in the same environment here. Just so you know, you're going to want to make sure that these all get covered and cleaned up and you take care of them. Please do that. Oh my God. Yes.
So how can we, what's the solution? How can we battle this better?
Which part?
In getting the malware out of these situations? Is it mainly that people tend to upload it, or do more nefarious things happen?
Or is it like, are they like not scanning their code before they use it? Like, is it like, how does it get there? How do they end up with malware? Can I ask that?
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly, the most common way that things get infected is through compromised and weak passwords from admin users.
Of course, it always comes down to the dang password. Look,
always comes down to dang password.
Passphrase is an MFA, you guys.
Yes.
Topic.
Please, MFA, cannot stress enough. MFA is something a little different, but it makes me think of anime. Anyway, just
what did I say? Now I'm questioning myself. Did I say multi-factor authentication?
Okay,
great.
Yeah. Nope. I just misspoke and said FMA. No.
Okay.
MFA.
So you may not be able to say this, but how bad is it? What would be your rough guess of a percentage of those that are using multi-factor and those that are not using multi-factor?
I honestly couldn't even make a guess. But what I can say is that
It's bad, right?
it's bad. That would be my bad. Yeah, it's just bad. I know that the compromise that happens through credentials is about 90% of the time. The 10% of the time is other things like outdated plugins, outdated themes, or just somebody downloaded something they should not have. Like, oh, this plugin looks amazing, but doesn't have any ratings, but that's okay. It looks like it's going to do exactly what I want it to do.
It's fine.
Spoiler
my
alert.
my children logged on and downloaded that plugin for you because, man, they come up to me with some stuff. They're like, Mom, can we get this game? And I'm like, well, let's look at it. And I'm like, there's 0 ratings for this game or application you want to download. Let's not. That looks like it has herpetocephalitis and you should not look at that. I'm so glad we have parental controls and you have to ask me permission first.
Yes.
It's so bad. Wow, that is really interesting. I didn't realize that it would be the same reason why anybody ever finds themselves. Like, that's the biggest reason I find, personally, in my experience, across the board, why people have a vulnerability or experience an incident is somewhere somebody's credentials were taken, or, that's, man, even in the malware scene, you guys, passphrases, multi-factor.
For your admin accounts. Admin accounts. Yes, it's just fun.
But you know how we do these things societally, right? As just every time people answered the phone at first, when phones were first invented, I don't even think the thing was hello. Like, they didn't do that. They didn't do that yet. They had to come up with that. I vote that we make a huge shift that now every time you greet someone, answer your phone, all you do is say passphrases and multi-factor. Passphrase multi-factor.
Yep.
Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yes.
Passphrase multi-factor. Just
say it 5 times fast and you've got it.
Just
so
parental control.
Now this may not be one that you can't talk about if you know, but GoDaddy being a major provider, do you have any idea on trends or where a lot of the attacks are trying to come from, or do you see any kind of patterns for who is trying to hit your sites the most to infect?
Based on IPs I've seen in various different things and that kind of stuff, I mean, it's usually malicious actors from like China and Russia, frankly. Those are really the main IPs that we see trying to like hit sites and that kind of thing.
Is it just more like credential harvesting, or what type of malware do you see come up the most?
The type of malware that we see a lot of is usually spam. Actually, spam comments, spam posts. It's rife. It's everywhere. Other ones that we see that are pretty common are redirection ones. So you go to a site and you're trying to get to like a daycare site, and you go there and it is definitely not a daycare site. All of a sudden, you are looking at an adult site.
Yeah,
that happens. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing. Or just somebody changed something to say, this is now like this person hacked your site, or, a political message, activism, that kind of thing, is another common one. And not really necessarily credential harvesting in the malware space, the website malware space, I should clarify. But another big one, of course, is also credit card stealers. That's a huge one. We don't see as many of those, luckily, but we do see a number of them. It's wild.
Wow.
Yeah. And some of them are really interesting. Credit card stealers, they used to be a lot easier to detect, but of course they've gotten continuously, like it's cybersecurity, right? The threat actors get really, really creative with the way that they do things. You can't always find it easily. It's there, but you don't know how it's there. All kinds of interesting things.
Wow.
Yeah. They'll
I want to
hide
go.
it.
I want to go to the Kara Federow talk where you talk about how you do that. Because I feel like I want to ask a bunch of questions, but then I'll need diagrams. Like
Oh.
I need you to put diagrams together. I'm a visual learner. I need like a
That's fair.
process flow map with like colored squares and arrows. Like I'm that person. I'm like, no.
That's fair. Happy to draw that out for you at some point. I actually have not done the credit card stealer work in a long time. And even when I was doing the analyst work, I didn't do it nearly as much, but some of my analysts do it. And listening to them talk about it is fascinating to me. I'm like, how did you find that? And they're like, okay, so I did this, went here, saw this, but it wasn't there and I couldn't figure it out. And so instead I went there and anyway, a long list of things. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, see, I would go to that talk. I'm that nerd.
That's awesome.
I'm like, that's neat. Not for any other reason other than I'm just like, why? How? And then, okay. And I don't know. Like I guess my interest in it is from just a cybersecurity awareness type perspective. You know what I mean? Just to learn more about that specific bad guy thing or, bad actor thing that they badly do.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. Yeah. What do you think about the newer secure browsers? Everybody was just using Chrome.
John's getting caught up.
Oh.
No, jab. But also, do you have problems with things like credential harvesters? Right? We in the education area, because Google had for quite a while would offer almost unlimited space. Mm-hmm. People would put on sites like dating sites and things like that, if they could get into the code, would send copies of every account that came in to a Google Drive, right? And then you would have these massive collections of usernames and passwords, like 4 million plus, and go through that kind of thing. Do you have that kind of stuff happening as well?
I mean, yeah, that does happen because people want credentials so that they can get in if they can't break the password or whatever. It's not as common though as some of the other things that we see, but it's there because and to clarify, the type of websites that we're working with are generally like small business websites. So they're not going to have a lot of interesting information other than, the normal type of data as people like put in their information, like email addresses, birthdays, whatever, and credit card information. That's the other interesting stuff that they get. But fascinatingly, even though people go to great lengths to get credit card stealers on their sites, apparently credit card numbers are not particularly, they don't get you more than a couple bucks on the black market anymore, apparently, which I found very interesting recently, because it's so easy to just get rid of the credit card number. You just call your company, or you even just go online most times and just be like, nope, this credit card's clearly compromised, shut it down. So you have a very small window where you can use the credit card number, but people sell them.
That's true. You know what? And I've had to get my credit card replaced a couple of times, and it's always this weird, like it's like what I call the test shot, where they take a test shot at it. There's like $2, $3 weird thing. They're like testing the number to see if it's valid, if they can actually get anything out of it, and then they'll start to slowly siphon so that you don't notice, or maybe your bank doesn't notice. That was a tactic a couple of years ago.
That's still a tactic.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't had anything in a long time.
It's a slightly different tactic than what you're talking about. What they'll do is they'll then take whatever credit card numbers that they've harvested and then go to just some small website that doesn't have a CAPTCHA on it or something to protect their purchasing form, and then just spam the purchasing form with all the numbers, doing like small, like $1 or $2 purchases to just see whether or not any of these credit card numbers are still valid.
Right.
And then that way they know.
I've been in that bucket before. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
No one's immune. Okay.
Nope.
Stuff happens. It happens.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But it was the process. going through the process was very educational for me and helping anybody else out. You know what I mean? I had that seed of wisdom of experience that I could help other people that thought maybe their bank credentials had been compromised kind of thing, or their numbers had been stolen and were being used. But it was a fairly easy process. So go my bank. Good job.
Yay.
I just called the number right away whenever I noticed there was some activity going on that looked a little shaky. And they were like, great, shut it down. We got a new card sent to you. You have to sign for it when it arrives. And I went, okay, thanks.
Great.
And we put your money back. I was like, oh,
Even better.
hey, wonderful. Thank you. They're like, is there anything else we can help you with today? I was like, no. Is there a survey I can fill out for you though? Like, this was awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it whenever that goes well.
So you can see our students at work up there with Steve.
What's he doing? Steve says, what would you tell? Oh, hang on, wrong one. Steve says, what would you tell the new person wanting to get into malware detection? So in the cyber range, we have started building a, what is that lab? What is that? Somebody educate me. What is this, Steve or Will or somebody? Remnux.
Remnux?
Sure.
Remediation something?
I think he means Renix.
Okay.
Okay.
And I haven't gotten into this part yet.
Okay.
Okay.
So the core of the question is, what would you tell
it is Remnux.
Okay.
So if you, let me go ahead and.
So like remediation with Linux is what I'm thinking.
That's what it,
let me go ahead and share the screen.
Right? Maybe?
Oh, we're sharing a screen? Okay. My bad. Hold on. I'm getting there. There you go.
So it's a toolkit for malware analysis.
Look how good I am at discerning things.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
All right.
I hadn't heard of this yet. Thanks for sharing, Steve.
This is cool.
So it's kind of elements. What used to be really heavy in some of those areas was a project that was called Cuckoo Sandbox.
Okay.
Where you could take malware, put it in, and it would detonate the malware, and then it would try to pick up all the signatures that it could.
Oh, cool.
And be able to report that out, right?
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, now I think it's either Chinese or South Korean or something like that.
Oh.
It's gone really sketchy.
Never mind, crossing that off the list.
Yeah, you don't want to do that one.
Did you see me writing it down? Thank you. Thank you for stopping me.
Yeah. The Remnux is... I think heading down those areas, there's some other open source ones that are used. If you go in, I think CISA has some off links in toolkits and things like that for doing that type of analysis. But this is much more for elements of what ends up on a machine. Whereas web hosting is kind of a different bag, right? Do you have automated elements or whatever for scanning those environments and things of that sort? Is there anything that you use that is open source that you could recommend or anything along those lines?
I don't believe we use open source stuff now that I'm thinking about it. But basically, we just have our own malware database, and our scripts basically just take pieces of code, go through the code and compare it to the malware database and just say, okay, well, this sort of matches the signature, or this exactly matches the signature. We're going to just rip that right out. Nope.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is this something that anybody that hosts a website with GoDaddy has, or is this like something, is your team's expertise and remediation, is that like a service that's an add-on or...
Okay, we're service add-on. Yeah.
Is it like a subscription service add-on where you subscribe regularly, or is it something that you can also like piecemeal? Like, oh no, I have a problem. I need help. Can you guys do this for a little bit? Or
I'm trying to remember what our honestly, like the plan types change so often anymore. I don't even know what marketing is done.
Okay.
But what I do know is
it is a service, like there's an add-on somewhere. Yeah. Okay, cool.
An add-on somewhere. There's like a whole team, of course. And one of our teams also does like web application firewalls and backups. And then, so they're the proactive side. And then there's us, that's the reactive side.
Do you feel like, never mind, that's a stupid question. Of course it is. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out. I was like, how can you be proactive with malware and not reactive? But then I was like, that's dumb. Is that dumb?
Firewalls. No.
I mean, right? Then I was like,
yeah.
no, that's a new category. Like, duh. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm sorry. Look, there's so much new information that I have shoved into my brain this week with the new job. But there are moments where there's serious mush that dribbles just out of my mouth. Just like, ugh.
I know the feeling. You're just like, okay, words.
Yeah,
so what's the wildest one you've come across?
Ooh.
Come on, story time.
Story time. All right. This was it wouldn't be one that I've come across because I can't even think of one that I've come across because frankly it's been so many years since I've directly done the work itself other than like helping other people. So let me just say that it was from one of my direct reports and it was absolutely fascinating. It was a credit card stealer and they were trying to figure out, and they couldn't find it. There were a number of high-level analysts that had gone through it, that had just gone through it and they cleaned it up and it popped back up. And, caches were cleared. We did everything we could and just kept digging and digging and digging. They got me involved, which I was kind of like, I mean, you guys are better at this than I am, but sure, I can take a look, dig with them, take a look. And, kept getting other people involved, pulling them in. And finally, what they found was that the malware was being hidden in what's called a swap file. Do you guys know what a swap file is?
No, what is that?
Okay. So when you're in SSH and you're interacting with the server and you're editing a file,
okay,
there is something called a swap file. And if I recall correctly, because I didn't even know what this was, if I recall correctly, basically it's either the one that's saved on the server while you're editing it, and then it gets swapped out for when you save what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
So basically when you hit the save button, it then swaps it out for it.
Right.
So
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So they managed to hide the malware in a swap file that they kept reproducing. And
That's neat.
Yeah. And very fascinating. We were all blew our minds when one of the analysts figured it out. We were like, they did what? And it's a very interesting thing because it does definitely speak to the idea. Oh God, John, I just read the comment there. Yeah. When threat actors, when anybody really knows what they're doing and clearly understand the environment, like this was clearly not a script kiddie. Like this is somebody that had worked with servers and knew what they were doing and knew how to embed this and knew how to actually make this continue to work. It was just absolutely fascinating. And one of my directs actually wrote a whole article on what they all did and when she found it, or when they all found it, excuse me.
Very cool. So right, the person, the threat actor that loaded that into the swap file obviously had some knowledge and experience with servers and how those processes worked. Okay.
Yes.
Is there someone on your team who also had experience with servers? Like, how did they find it there? Do you think it was their experience or their previous experience maybe that led them to look there?
Partially. Yes and no.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, okay. I'm curious.
Yes and no. So a lot of our folks do have server management experience, admin experience, which is very helpful, of course, when dealing with website malware because you have to deal with hosting stuff. Right. And the person that found it, he actually directly found it. He was looking through the code and saw something on one of the files that kept being regenerated that said something about swap, like the file name .swap. And he was like, wait a second.
It was like a pattern recognition.
Yeah.
That was
he was like, wait. Yeah. he was like, oh my goodness. And then that's when they were able to start digging into that section of basically the server. At that point, it wasn't even technically on the website. It was
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Wild.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I don't know. That's why, you know what? It takes all kinds, man. It takes all kinds.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
takes
absolutely.
all kinds on the bad actor side of the fence, and it takes all kinds on this side of the fence, on the good people,
So,
good humans.
to hit Steve's question down there at the bottom,
Yeah. When you find it,
what's your processes when you find new malware? What kind of gyrations or roads do you guys head down?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to just kind of figure out maybe what would be the best way to talk about it.
Sure.
But I mean, the long and short of it is when we find new malware, we start nerding out pretty hard. We're like, oh my God, what is this? Let's show it to us, guys. Let's see it.
There's not one person that I know that works with malware that doesn't do that. When there's a new one, they're like, ooh, it's shiny. How does that work?
Tell us. And we help verify it. We look at it together. We take a look. Thank you. And basically at that point, we just send it over to our research team. We just send the code sample over and then say, hey, this is something new that we found, and they'll write a signature for it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, but do you get stuff back from them? Like, this is how it was done. This is what they did. And oh, maybe we should work that into our administration tools.
Well, you put it, and then you put it in your repository, right? To check against for other occurrences of it, right? Okay.
Malware signature database.
That's it. I don't know.
That's
I said repository. It still sounded
you're right.
fancy.
I mean, you're right. It is a repository. Just that's the technical name for it. Sorry.
Thank you. No, correct me. I'm learning. We're learning live right here. While drinking coffee. That's the whole point, man. That's the whole point. By the way, if you guys don't know that, like if you are new here, the whole point of this and the reason why I sit here and ask questions about stuff that may make me look or sound dumb is because networking is important for more than just like in Kara's case, right? She got a job opportunity due to her networking capabilities internally within the company she already worked at. Networking here is also very handy for learning, right? Like I'm a conversational learner. So when I want to know things about malware, guess who I call on? I call on folks like Kara because she's delightful and patient with me and will explain things in a way that I can understand. And if I don't understand it the first time, I can go, can you say that again? And then she does it because she's magical. But yeah, that's the whole point of the coffee table talks, by the way, is for you to learn and grow and develop and meet people. Like reach out to the people that you see in chat and connect with them. If you're not already connected, reach out to Kara via the QR code that's over there that goes to her LinkedIn and connect with her too. She's delightful. Please. Yeah. And anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
do you folks also have relationships with things like VirusTotal and places like that so that when they see stuff that triggers on the GoDaddy network that they come back and let you know?
That I don't know. I know that in our work we use VirusTotal mostly because we in my team's specific work we will help websites get removed off of block lists. So that's one thing we use VirusTotal for. But also, I mean, so higher up in other departments that is like GoDaddy network specific, I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do use that because it is an incredible tool. But we will use it. But for our work, we definitely use it. Not just for block lists. We'll also look at, little bits of code and be like, is this?
I think Will might be partially validating tools that they use at the Center of Excellence. What other tool recommendations would you have for Will and his students, Kara? Do you have any? Or Will, do you want to share what you're using and Kara can go like
well, yeah, I mean it's such a, especially if I'm gauging this correctly, at a place like GoDaddy, you have to have teams and teams working on this stuff because there's everything from the end of picking up snippets within code of websites to all the networking that's involved, right? Because in the networking side, all sorts of bad folks will be using that as launch pads for different, just like Cloudflare. If you get a whole bunch of stuff hitting your flat firewall from Cloudflare addresses, it's like, yeah, good luck. Because it's all being tunneled through and doing things along those lines. So it's a battle, folks. It's a big battle.
Constantly.
And trying to get all that sharing is a challenge in among itself.
Am I ringing?
Oh, I might be. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I was hoping nobody was going to hear the buzzing, so I apologize.
no, you're
Uh-oh.
fine. I was concerned though. I was like,
Hopefully it's not a fire.
Is that an emergency system alarm? What's going on? Because my phone's on silent and literally the only one. And like it's spring weather time, right? And have you guys seen all the tornadoes and stuff? I'm sorry, I'm gonna derail this conversation so bad. I went squirrel. But like my phone will the push alert will make my phone vibrate, like it do something even if it's on silent. I set it up that way to do that. But like, so I was worried. I was like, oh no, there might be a tornado in my area. Because I know it's not a hurricane. At least I have a couple of days for that. Anyway, oh sorry. Back to where we were. Help, Will. I do this to myself.
Yeah. So, I was just thinking about some of those connections across between those different entities. Because when we go looking at stuff, it's everything from using tools like VirusTotal, where you can put in a URL and it will go and try to find bad stuff for you on your behalf. And here you've got GoDaddy, right? That is hosting a whole bunch of websites. And they're playing whack-a-mole because people are installing stuff left and right and forward, And so you have those things that are installed, especially like you described, people say, oh, hey, that's cool. It's on the internet. Let's put that code in.
That's great.
Right? That's a huge thing to keep up with. And if VirusTotal or some companies like that pick that up, I would bet that they have something where they phone back to you guys and say, flag on the play. We found one at, and do that reporting all the way through to the networking side. But that's a whole different realm, right? Because now we're talking about looking glass servers and things like that and finding out paths and all the fun stuff.
Yes.
I have a question about Steve's question.
Okay.
Steve asks, what kind of new polymorphic malware has your team seen? What is polymorphic malware?
Oof, this is it's from my Security Plus days. I'm trying to remember.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so polymorphic is basically code that will modify itself as it goes along. And that way,
what that is. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, that's the simple.
It updates itself as it needs to. Yeah.
I have a regular level IQ. All right. And what that means, as I've tried to explain to my kids before, it just means the capacity for storage of information in your brain. That's it. It's just the capacity. Doesn't make you, if you have a high IQ, it doesn't mean, like my 10-year-old has a very high IQ. It's off the charts. Okay. It's crazy off the charts. And he got a, no pun intended, but maybe a little bit, real big head about it. And was like lording it over his brother and sister for a little while until I explained to him, it doesn't matter how big the storage space is if there's nothing in it.
This is very true.
Now, I have a regular sized storage space in my brain. And this week, I have been dumping a lot of things out of it or pushing it back to like right into the backlog or just kind of I've deprioritized a lot of information in my brain to push all this new stuff up to the top. So when
have you ever noticed you can never clear out the useless trivia?
I can't. Nope.
How that just
I will always know the whole theme song to Golden Girls. But when I saw polymorphic malware, my brain went, nope. And then Will, you started to explain it, and I went, oh yeah, okay. So sorry. Thank you for coming on this very long-winded journey with me.
Appreciate it.
Never mind. Just kidding. Anyway, what kind of new polymorphic malware has your team seen?
I'm trying to think if we really see that too terribly often.
It's a little harder on the web space because it has to be something that modifies the server itself, which kind of involves a lot of administrative rights and privileges, right?
Yeah,
unless it's just a file that's being doled out.
Yeah, it's a little different with the web space because you do need to be able to have that level of access to be able to modify those files continuously, which happens. It happens. So we do occasionally, I'm trying to think, I'm sure we see it. It's just not often. It usually, like, the code generally remains the same. And it just continues to steal whatever it's going to steal, exfiltrate whatever it wants to, or whatever it's there to do.
It's so hard in the web space because there's so much stuff that can be programmed into web pages. It's really, really kind of wild.
Yeah, it is. It's just wild thing, and it is interesting because, like I was mentioning before, like, it's a much more niche section of the wider cybersecurity space. So it is kind of interesting how a lot of it differs, because also you have different languages you're using, right? You're using a lot of PHP. JavaScript is huge. I'm trying to think of, various types of JavaScript for sure. But mainly those are the two languages, and those aren't used as much on, like, computers, for example.
Right, but it gets nuts. We had a 12-year-old in one of our boot camps. 12-year-old.
Awesome.
As we were going through and we were heading, I think I said this on one of the other shows, we were doing the OWASP juice shop, right, which is a great thing to practice on and to do. And he turned to us and said, "Can I use Burp Suite on this?" And then once he went through the section of it where you do a SQL injection and get administrative privileges, he was creating users, and he was creating the users. In the names of the users, he was trying to insert Java code.
Wow. Okay, that is impressive.
12.
Sorry, I'm trying to put links to the resources you just shared, Will. Okay, yeah. So Juice Shop, and then what was the second one? Was Burp Suite?
Burp Suite.
Okay. Did I miss one?
We're going to have to start a list.
Yes.
But
Burp Suite is an interesting tool. I love it.
But that's a lot to keep track of. That's a lot to try to keep up with. That's an ever-changing treadmill. I mean, how do you guys keep up?
As best we can.
Excellent. I love it.
Yeah.
Honest answer. As is everyone else, right?
Yes, basically. And you just continue to learn, you continue to look, and you just continue to keep in mind everything that you've learned already. And once again, keep in mind what you're looking at, and then also the broader picture of what you're looking at. And hope that you catch it.
Yes, how much is it? How much is it nowadays for one Burp Suite Pro license? It's not much. I remember, and see, I'm a vendor management type person, vendor relationships type person. So I hear Burp Suite and then I forget that it's Port Swigger.
Yes, I actually forget that all the time too.
Until I look at it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's the Port Swigger people. But anyway, it's not bad. It really isn't. But
that's a matter of perspective.
True.
When your students, community college, riding the bus to work every day.
I know. It's a lot. It's a lot, especially whenever you're making decisions like name brand mac and cheese versus off-brand ramen, right? Like, and that's a critical decision. I've been there. I I'm very grateful for everything in my life. Josh and I just celebrated 15 years yesterday.
Congrats.
I know.
Awesome.
We haven't murdered each other. I'm pretty proud of us. We've also managed to keep 3 tiny humans alive thus far.
Wow.
A couple of pets, and most of the plants in my front yard are still alive. We're doing great. It's working out.
I would call that success.
Yeah. But I do remember a time when we lived in a very tiny, cramped apartment with roommates in the bad side of town. And we're having to make decisions between cigarettes, gas, and food. Was like, you know what I mean? It was a conversation. It was a whole conversation. So I get that.
It's hard.
Holy crap, Jeff. No, that is too much, sir. Somebody's gonna need to go start a GoFundMe for their own Burp Suite license. That's rough. If you do end up starting a GoFundMe for a Burp Suite license, let me know. I'll throw $20 at it. I will. I'll help you out a little bit.
I hate to say this, Rachel.
What?
But we hit the hour mark.
Yes.
Dang, it happened so fast. Oh my gosh. Oh, but also I get to go do more HR training. Which, by the way, isn't so bad at the new place. It's not bad at all. There's a little survey and it's like, can you make suggestions how we can improve this training? And I'm like, nope, keep doing you, boo. You're doing great.
So you don't do it as a penalty? Penalty, 3 hours, sensitivity training.
There's some people I can recommend for sensitivity training. I am not one of them. So anyway.
Well, that probably was one of them right there, but do it.
Okay, so quick reminder. I was planning on being out of state next week on the 13th for our next coffee table talk. So I blocked it off that I wasn't going to be doing coffee table talk on the 13th. I started a new job. I'm no longer going out of state. So the next time we are going to have a coffee table talk is going to be on the 20th. That event is up for you to click. Wait.
Yes, it's there on YouTube.
That event is up for you to click all your alarm bells on YouTube or attending on LinkedIn, however you want to do that. Make yourself a calendar block for the day and time. Notice that the time is a little bit different. Our guest is going to be Mike Manrod, the CISO. What school is it, Will?
He's with Grand Canyon University.
That's it.
GCU.
He's with. There you go. I was like, this is an acronym that you guys keep throwing around, though. So he's closer to being local to Will's area than mine. I've known him for several years, like here and there, kind of in the peripheral of that. You know, we know each other ish, running the same circles ish, kind of thing. And then I got an opportunity to actually meet him in person when I was at Cactus Con this last spring in Arizona, which was a very illuminating experience. And he did a talk at Cactus Con that was fantastic. Anyway, he agreed to come on the show. So he's going to be here on the 20th. We hope you will be too. Kara, thank you so much for tolerating all of my silly questions. And
delightful.
Thanks. And all of the wonderful questions from the audience. You guys are way better at asking questions than I am. But it's awesome. I'm so glad to see you and hang out. We're gonna have to hang out some more. Yay!
Sounds great. Yeah.
Good.
This was delightful. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And you guys go connect with Kara as well. She's local to the Chicago area.
Mm-hmm.
So if you happen to be at a conference or you live close to there or whatever, and you're not weird, reach out, invite her for coffee. Should probably do that kind of thing.
I do like coffee.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you're going to get a background check first, but whatever.
OSINT is important.
It is super important. But anyway, yeah, do that because she's delightful. I mean, can't you tell? Thank you, Will, for coming along. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. This is the part where we wave and smile and say bye.